Hi everybody, welcome to 32Soft's May webinar. I'm Denise, your host, and joining me today we have Nancy McCrimmon, our operational Wonder Woman, and Christian Manga, our marvelously talented developer. Before I hand off though, we have some very light housekeeping as we have a few new folks with us today. Please know that by default, everyone joins the webinar already muted. Each of you should see a control panel similar to what I'm displaying, and there is a section at the bottom where your questions can be typed. You can type them in at any time during the session, and then at the Q&A portion, I will read them aloud in the order received. Also, as soon as the replay from today is available, typically that's within about a week, we will follow up with our Encore email, which will include a link to the replay, all of today's questions and answers. And finally, please know that our demonstrations are intended to highlight basic functionality. We are always happy to provide demos for individual organizations where we're better able to delve a little deeper into the nuances of your particular environment. With that said, Nancy, if you are ready.
Yes, I am ready. Thank you, Denise.
Here you go.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our webinar. Today, we're going to take a look at the requisition cycle and 32Soft's Requisition Plus application. But first, let's see what you're using currently as a requisition process. Are you on a paper-based system where, where everything is manual? You know, some of the issues there could be that there's a long turnaround time because you're searching for people for approvals, lost paperwork, it's not automated, and then it's difficult for the requester to know where the requisition stands in terms of approval. If you are currently using the QAD global requisition system, there are maybe some limitations there as well because you might need the QAD access for your users. You can't attach supplementary documentation to the requisition, and you may also find it difficult to see the timeline of that approval. And then, of course, your requester calls for status updates unless they are QAD users and they can log in, but there are some limitations there for QAD. So what 32Soft has done is we've developed a standalone application within the QAD database which can streamline and simplify your requisition process. You can create requisitions electronically, you can use attachments. Their requesters, anybody has access to the real-time status. You can see where your requisition is in the approval timeline. It routes approvals and notifications automatically. You can certainly access it via your mobile device. You can view all supporting documentation, including the approver comments. And we'll go through one of the features in the application where you can track and reconcile pre-approved purchases. So if you just need a requisition, but you don't necessarily need a purchase order after that, these ones are great for P-card orders, and then it allows you to generate POs automatically. And we've added a new feature to the newest version of Requisition Plus for batch approvals, which I will show you. So with that, let's go into the application. This is the login screen for Requisition Plus, and you would just log in, and it takes you to your home page. This home page allows you to see all of the requisitions that you as a requester have submitted. So this will take you to the details. It gives you some supplier information. This is just the standard supplier inquiry from QAD. It gives you details about the total, the currency, where it's currently routed, and this is a nice feature for the status. And this gives you the status of the requisition. So you can see when it was created, by who, when it was approved, any approver comments. You can do searches, of course, by any of the filters up here, and then you can also export all of your requisitions to Excel, which allows you to slice and dice any way you want. So to create a new requisition, you just hit the new requisition button, and one of the nice features that we have here is we have a questionnaire. This questionnaire is designed by you as a business. The questions and the responses are up to you. The decision tree is up to you, so you can have as many questions as you want, or you can just have one. And basically, you know, is it within the budget? Any of these, and depending on the answer, it will allow the user to create a requisition, or it will have a pop-up that tells them additional information that you need to go see somebody else, or you need to gather this before it allows you to create a requisition. This allows you to keep requisitions in the system clean, so you don't have a lot of requisitions that will actually go nowhere. This is the header of the requisition. So the requisition number is automatically generated. That is set up by you in the control panel, and then Christian will take you through that towards the end. We'll go through the menu and QAD. The supplier field is auto search enabled, so you can type in partial supplier name or supplier number, and it will show you the closest match from QAD. So all of these suppliers are validated against the QAD supplier master. And then the rest of the header looks very similar to what is in QAD GRS. So you have your dates here, you have your sites, if you have multiple sites, if you have multiple entities. Requesters can have multiple cost centers attached to them. And then, of course, you can put in remarks. These remarks will carry over to the purchase order when it's created. There are two buttons here that we have. So if you hit capital assets button, this indicates that this will be a capital purchase or a capital requisition, and certain accounts will drop down for the user once they get to the detail screen that limits them to the capital requisition accounts. There's also a service rec. This label can change. You can call it what you want, but basically this indicates that the requisition will go through the approval process, but it will not generate an email to the buyer that says you need to create a PO. So this essentially closes the requisition. So that's what those two buttons are. The detail screen allows you to enter in either an item number from QAD, and the item has to exist in item master in QAD, so it's all validated, and again it's auto search enabled, so you just have to type in partial information. And then you'll see that the purchasing account defaults to the product line purchasing account. There are defaults here. You can select if there's a project, and then of course you can put in the quantity and the cost. You can also enter in a new line by hitting the new line and type in non-memo items, so it recognizes that this is a non-inventory item. And then here you can select the purchasing account. Now the account drop-down is going to be controlled by the file that you submit. So you can control what the user sees, and we'll go through the setup and show you how to set that up very easily. So, and you'll see too that the type is now changed to memo. And that's as easy as entering, you know, you hit save and it enters the line. We also allow you to do attachments at both the header and the line level. So you hit the attachment icon, and it will open up a window, and all you need to do really is just find your document. It attaches it. You'll see that the icon changes. There's visual indicators letting you know that there is an attachment at that line. Like I said, there's attachment at both the header and the line level. To enter a comment, you just hit the comments. And again, visual indicator letting you know that there's a comment at either the header or the line. And then that is basically all you need to do. You can also edit if you'd like, or delete the line. And the other thing that's always attached to the requisition are the responses from your questionnaire. So you'll see what those responses are. That will attach itself throughout. And then all you need to do is submit, and it will ask you to route. And the way we set it up is it goes to the next level approver. So we go through each of the levels, and we'll talk about the setup a little later. And then it displays the first approver. The user doesn't have to select anything. The first one is always approved, and then you just hit submit. And now it's routed to the thing. So what you'll see here is the approver will get an email, and the email will let them know what is in there. If there are attachments, there is a link so you can view the attachment. And all the approver needs to do really is hit the link. This takes you directly to the login page, and if you notice, the username has been pre-populated, and all the approver needs to do is put in their password. It takes you directly to the requisition details, so they don't have to look around for it. You can see the details here. You can view any of the comments and documents that you like, and then it has some action buttons at the top, so you can approve, you can deny, you can reverse it. And then if they want to approve, all they have to do is type in their comments, they approve it, and then it asks you to route. And then if there is a next level approver, then it will go to that approval level. Again, the name will be displayed, and then all they need to do is submit. And then the document is routed to the approver. And then we go through that process where approver 2 gets the email. And we'll just quickly go through this. And then if you are a second approver, you'll also see the comments from the previous approver. So that's always a nice feature. And if you are the final level approval, what you will see next is a list of the buyers. That means that you are the final approver, and it is now ready to go to the buyer. So if you have multiple buyers, they are listed, but the first one is always highlighted. So you can just hit submit, and the buyer as well will get an email. The other thing too is the requester at this point, once it goes through the final approval, the requester actually gets an email that says, hey, your requisition has been approved now, and there's nothing that you need to do. So they are notified. At the same time, the buyer receives an email, and all they have to do is they can take a look at all the details. It also includes the questionnaire responses, approver comments, so the buyer doesn't need to go into QAD. They have all the information in front of them. They just need to hit the link. Again, you'll see that they just need to put in their password. It is at this point that when the buyer takes action that we connect to QAD. So the buyer needs a license. They need to be a buyer set up in QAD. So all the buyer needs to do at this point is they can create the PO, and it is now automatically created. And if we go back to the requester, you'll see here that the PO shows up. So the requester knows that the status is complete and a PO has been created. Now this is just a summary detail of what the PO lines are. It doesn't have any other details except these are your PO lines. So the requester at any time knows where his requisition is, and if it's been approved, and everyone is automatically notified. One of the new features that we've added in is the ability to do batch approvals. These are for approvers that are out on the road. They don't really need to know all the details. What they need to know is, basic information. I have a bunch of requisitions here. These are the totals. If they want to approve a bunch of requisitions at a certain total, they can do that. All they have to do is hit the approve here. So let's just approve a couple of these. You can hit as many as you want and then do the batch approval, put in your comments. And basically you've just approved it and it's routed to the next level. And that's all you need to do for batch approvals. And then I had spoken earlier about doing it on your mobile device. So this is basically, what you'll see. Sorry. This is just a simulation of what it looks like on your phone. So your login page, this is your menu basically. Here's all my requisitions and stuff. This is a listing of all the different requisitions that you would have. The filters, you can filter, and then of course these are the requisition details with the action buttons on the bottom. And then of course you can take a look at requisition details and then the questionnaire responses. So that's basically what that would look like on your phone. And going back to setup now, we will help you do the setup so it shows what the user will see, like the accounts that they will see. So this is a file that we send you to do every setup in QAD. And you can put in a list of users who the CC approvers are with the sites, the amounts, you can set up alternate approvers, the admin, things like that, purchasing projects, capital accounts. So all of these things, it's just one file. We do a one-time setup, and then it allows you to maintain that in QAD. And right now, I'm going to pass that on to Christian. He's just going to show you very quickly what the menu looks like in QAD and just go through a couple of things there. So Denise, if you want to pass it over to Christian, that'd be great. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Nancy. That was terrific. Christian, you ready?
So as Nancy mentioned, this new version of the Requisition Plus, it's a standalone application, and it has integration at the end of the process when we create the PO in QAD. Of course, we still validate some of the things like the item numbers, suppliers, sites, entities during the life cycle of the requisition, so you don't get an error at the very end when we create the PO. But this integration is minimal. In order to maintain all this information, the information is actually stored in custom tables in your custom database, in a site database. And we created a few programs to maintain all this data. They can be run either from the character interface that I'm showing here or from .NET. So let's go through really quick through the program. So we have a control record maintenance program where we would have the prefix for the requisitions, the next number, timeouts, a few other options for the passwords, also the URLs where the software is installed, the attachments folder where the attachments are all stored, and as well as the questionnaire. The other maintenance program is for the users. All the Requisition Plus users are separate users. They can also exist in QAD, and actually for the buyers they have to exist in QAD with the same user ID. And as for the password, we can integrate it with QAD if the user exists and if you need that too. or we can integrate with AD, or as other clients ask us to just have a totally separate password. So this is flexible. We can go either way. Also, you have an email account, which can be your QAD email account if they use existing QAD, or a totally separate email account that will be used from here. The other maintenance program is to define, once we define the users, we have to define the role. So user can be a requester, an approver, a buyer, or an administrator. And a user can be have more than one role. So you can have a requester who can also maybe is an approver for some call center. Then we'll have the purchasing accounts. So these accounts are tied into the call centers. Actually, I want to show here for the requesters have a list of call centers that they can see. So when they submit requisitions, they can submit requisitions only for these particular call centers. And when they enter the requisition, they can enter requisitions only for the accounts associated with the call center that they selected. We did this way so users don't have to go through the whole list of the accounts in QAD, accounts which are not really meant to be used for submitting a requisition. So you can have a handful of accounts or more, depending how many you need, and it will be tied into a call center, and so this way the requesters won't make mistakes. So you can attach accounts, you can attach projects into the call centers. We also have, for the capital requisitions that Nancy mentioned, we have separate list of accounts, call centers, and projects that can be used. Then we have a maintenance program, of course, for the approvers, and the approvers are also call center based, and they can also be entity site account based. If you leave them blank, it means apply to any entity, any site, any account. You have a start and an end date that this record applies, and you have an amount from to. So, for example, this in this record we show that approver 3 is an approval for call center 100 from 5,000 to 999,000. So if a requisition is submitted for less than 5,000, this approval won't see that requisition. But for any that is above 5,000, they will see it and they will have to approve it. And also we have project approvers. Project approvers are basically CapEx approvers. So CapEx requisition are project-based, and you will have, again, so these are the approvers for this project, for the CapEx project, and it can also be entity site specific. We could also add sub-accounts, which we don't have in the generic, but we have for one client where we use sub-accounts as well. And the rest of the programs are pretty much reports, just reports showing the users, the requisition submitted. Already you can go, and these reports can be tailored to your needs. That's pretty much it from my side. I just wanted to quickly show you the programs, and Denise, I can.
Thank you both, and thank you everybody for hanging in there with a lot of our questions. And as I mentioned, we are going a little bit over. Keep the questions coming though, because anything that we receive up until the replay is posted, we will include answers to, or of course always shoot us an email, give us a call. But we'll move along for now, and then I'll check back and see if we have any additional questions before we close out. Next month, we have Attain Purchasing Perfection with supplier schedules. Olena returns to show how comparing your supplier schedules with demands, receipts, and projected available inventory can give you total control. And this is already proving to be a very popular topic. Then in July, join us, hopefully, as our fearless founder, Alex Kim, reveals what's been cooking at 32Soft. Alex himself will show how you can use QAD data to measure on-time performance. So if you track KPIs or know you should, you won't want to miss this one. We do take a webinar summer break in August, but we'll have a great fall lineup planned for you before then. And registration for both of these webinars is open. Links to register are available at the bottom of all of our communications and on our website too, of course. Nancy, Christian, before I take another look, is there anything else we want to add real quick today?
No, I think the only thing I would like to add is this was just a very, very quick demo. If at any time you'd like a more in-depth demonstration with your users, we'd be happy to schedule something like that. Christian and I will be on those calls, and this allows your users to ask us questions that are specific to your business. You know, we do approvals this way. How would I set that up? So this is just a very quick overview of our generic application, but we'd be happy to do a demonstration for a select group of people, and then we would take questions and then talk about how that would fit into your business needs.
Great. Thanks, Nancy. Christian, are we good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. We'll go ahead and wrap up. I did, while Nancy's was adding her final comments, I did check. We don't have any additional outstanding questions. So whether your requisition cycle is sluggish due to sheer volume or because it's not automated or if there are bottlenecks in the process, it seems you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't believe already that there is a better way. And 32Soft can probably help. We are all really delighted you were able to join us today, and we thank you so much for your time. We hope the rest of your day is fabulous and fabulously productive. Hope to see you again next month. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.